Today we have a case that's slightly more technical than your average SKX because it's made up of multiple components and has a slightly unique build process. I have the new SKX to Marine Master conversion case, produced and provided to me by Crystal Time Astrology, aka Seiko Mods. Let's check out the build. Okay, so as per usual, I'll be starting on the movement, which is the NH36 since this build calls for both the day and date function. I always test the operation like the natural day-date change, quick set, and balance wheel oscillation before doing anything else because it will be a nightmare to find the movement is faulty after completing the build. I also monitor its performance on the time grapher and did some regulation so it's running quite nicely. Now we can put it on a movement holder and work on the complications since I'll be changing them to a style more suited to the function and look that I have in mind. I'll go with a C-clip which holds the day disc in place and the disc itself. The screws that hold in the top plate are then removed to gain further access to the date mechanism. Here is the new date wheel which not only is black but also has loomed numbers. Now that the date function is assembled, I like to check that it's operating as should before being covered up by the date wheel. Of course, I give it a clean with some Rodico and place the new date wheel in place. This is also black with Lume kanji characters to match the date wheel. Just like before, I'll give the entire surface a clean and check all the functions before proceeding on to the next step. Okay, so here is the coveted OEM SKX171 dial that we'll be using for this build. This is considered the upgraded version of the traditional SKX007 because it has raised and polished indices along with a cleaner layout overall. It's fitted onto the movement, cleaned up, and set precisely to 12 AM in preparation for the hands. Now this is a set of OEM limited edition Seiko hands in its original sealed packaging. The hour hand is carefully set and aligned up before being pressed into place. I test to make sure nothing catches and give it a nice clean. The same steps are done for the minute hand and cross-check with the hour to ensure they line up properly. Finally, the second hand is set, checked for spacing, and cleaned up, which completes the movement work for now. Here is the main attraction, the new SKX to Marine Master conversion case. This part is made with the form factor of a Marine Master, but accepts all SKX components, so there's no shortage of mods that could be done. It is a substantial case at 44mm, which is a great size for those who prefer a larger watch but aren't a fan of the turtle or samurai shapes. The Marine Master case is actually made up of 3 components, the first being the case, second is an inner ring that holds the movement and chapter ring, and an outer ring where the crystal is seated. So the internals are given a thorough clean since this is a front-loaded case and the inner ring is pushed into place. This follows up with some more cleaning because a new part was installed. The movement is carefully set into place as to avoid any sudden drop or impact that may affect its performance. The reason why it's put through the front is because the case is a monoblock construction, which means there is no way to access the back of the movement since the case back is essentially integrated. Now it's time to work on the crown and stem assembly. So with the case, the stem needs to be 14mm with ±0.2 deviation when using one of CT's crowns. This measurement may not be true for crowns obtained elsewhere, so do keep that in mind. The stem is cut and lightly filed off for the appropriate length, and that's pretty close to 14. This is the crown I'll be using, which has triple gaskets and a C3 filled loomed S. I put on some light bond and lubricate the gaskets to aid in its 200-meter water resistance. Once installed, I test for all of its functions like changing the time, day, date, winding, and ensuring it screws down all the way. The next step is the chapter ring, which is black and contains C3 loomed markers. It's slid into place, locked into position, and cleaned up. Now this is the outer ring that holds the crystal and internals in place. The part is cleaned up and screwed into place, which is actually reverse threaded. There are notches on the top for tightening, but it shouldn't be cranked down. Doing so may cause damage, and I'm using my version 2 here, but a simple hand tightener would provide sufficient strength. Unlike most of my builds, I'll be working on the bezel assembly before the crystal. You can install the crystal first, which I actually recommend if you're not confident in seating glass evenly. Anyways, this is a Marine Master style bezel. The gasket is first lubricated, slid into place, and the click spring is installed before fitting the bezel itself. And cleaning once again, of course. So once the bezel action is good to go, I carefully set the crystal in place, which is double dome sapphire with an undercoat of clear AR. After checking its orientation, the crystal is pushed down with my Persian press. Now the watch is officially sealed up, and I check to ensure the crystal is parallel with the case. The last component is the bezel insert, which is made from ceramic and also loomed. Installing this part finally completes the build, so let's get off the bench, put on a strap, and take a better look at this SKX2 Marine Master conversion mod. I hope you guys enjoyed the build process, and of course, this custom build is for sale. I do offer watch modification services, whether you're looking to customize your existing Seiko SKX or have a complete build made from scratch like this SKX to Marine Master conversion mod. Please do shoot me an email if you're interested. It will be on the screen and in the description below. As with all of my custom builds, I try to come up with a design where none of the individual parts stand out too much. That's because I want the watch in its entirety, the whole package, to stand out, which requires not only the parts to look good alone, but they have to complement one another. So I think that was accomplished with this SKX to Marine Master conversion mod because it looks like a model that Seiko should have put out themselves. Now for the specs, we have a 44mm diameter, 50mm lug to lug, 20mm lug width, regulated NH36 movement, Lume signed as crown, black Lume kanji date 8 wheels, OEM SKX171 dial, OEM limited edition Seiko handset, C3 Lume chapter ring, clear AR double dome sapphire crystal, Marine Master style bezel, and a Lume ceramic bezel insert. I think this build looks awesome at broad daylight and also at night because there is a lot of Lume present. Anywhere that could have Lume has Lume, which makes it a torch on wrist, especially because we have both C3 and Seiko's Lume, which are arguably the brightest formulas on the market. Even though the diameter is 44mm, the lug to lug distance isn't large, so like most Seikos, it's just rather compact on wrist. I love the curves and mixed up polished and brushed surfaces on the case, which is also top loaded, so it's a unique build experience. Definitely a lot more involved and tedious than a standard case, but the end result looks really good. Just as a note, if you aren't a fan of this Marine Master case, perhaps due to its size and weight, you can always commission this same build using a standard SKX case. That's the fun in having a custom watch made because there are tons of options to choose from that suit your taste. With that said, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. Consider subscribing if you haven't already. Do follow me on Instagram at Lume_shot. And as a reminder, I have a giveaway going on right now, so make sure you check out the last video. Actually, it might be 2 videos back. Anyways, I hope you guys have a great holiday, and I'll see you guys in the next video.